Boyka, boyka, when the general a pass. Boyka, boyka, MP run the dance. Boyka, boyka, we not take back no talk. Boyka, boyka.
So we are talking about the mixed martial arts film Boyka, Undisputed 4. Obviously the fourth film in the Undisputed franchise that stars Scott Adkins as Yuri Boyka, the most complete fighter in the world. And this one's directed by Todor Chapkanov. Now this one features literally the biggest human being I have ever seen in a guy called Martin Ford. He is basically the Darth Vader of mixed martial artists you'll see in this movie. So the plot here basically focuses on Boyka as he accidentally kills an opponent in the ring, and kind of he's found God and kind of feels kind of guilty. So he travels to Russia in search of the fighter's widow in aims to kind of help her to basically apologise and get forgiveness. And she's in a bit of a sticky situation with a local gangster where she owes money. So he agrees to fight on her behalf, going through a series of matches, paying off her debt. And as you can probably imagine, things go from somewhat off plan. So what do I think of Boyka, Undisputed 4? So I'm of a mixed mind about this. So let's talk about the good stuff first of all. The martial arts here are second to none. This is one of the best executed martial arts films in regards to the actual fighting scenes I've seen in many, many years. It's absolutely flawless. Particularly, I would say, the early fights. There's a couple of later fights I don't think were quite as effective, including the kind of the big bad, so to speak. They weren't bad, don't get me wrong, but they just weren't as quite as thrilling to watch as the kind of some of the earlier fights I've seen. But nonetheless, every single fight here is, you know, performed and choreographed amazingly. I mean, every punch, every kick, you feel it. It looks great. It's fantastically shot. Sound effects, everything here in regards to the fights are absolutely perfect. So I cannot fault that at all. And I really have grown to quite like Scott Adkins in this kind of role. I think he kind of makes quite the kind of likeable, almost anti-hero in a way, who's kind of gruff but has a spark of humanity in him. And it does a good job here, and I kind of quite like his performance here. Obviously, it's not the most layered of performances, but it's not meant to be, so all that's quite good. But let's talk about what I had some issues with. First of all, the actual plot here. It's really basic storytelling. I mean, you can just... It's so obvious what's going to happen, the things that come. Of course, the widow owes some money, and of course, this kind of like gangster owns this kind of fighting ring, and things like that. There's so many things here that are just obvious cliches, and you might not care if you're just watching this film for the kind of the martial arts stuff. You are not going to care about this, but I have to try and think of this as a complete film. The story itself literally has no surprises and is a very obvious film in regards to its kind of storytelling. It's very kind of a basic plot, but I think some of the characters are extremely badly written. The biggest party of all is the bad guy, who's this kind of gangster. Man, he's one of the worst written characters I've ever seen. The guy's motivations make no sense at all. I mean, this guy's going to be a mob boss, so you think he's going to have some kind of smarts, and he without giving away spoilers and stuff, what he wants, there's absolutely no motivation from it. What he actually does in this film, why would he do it? Why wouldn't he just agree to what was agreed to if you have seen the film? There's no reason for it. It's kind of sort of intended to kind of maybe say, oh, he has a bit of a crush on this guy's widow, but it's never really explicitly said. And even so, I mean, you know, the choices were made that are quite poorly handled, I've got to say, particularly with his characters. But a lot of the characters are one note. The big guy as well, the kind of the final kind of boss, so to speak, I felt was a little underserved, because we see him at the beginning and we see him at the very end. So he's really just not a character. He's just a kind of a force to be knocked over, basically. So when we get to that fight, though it's you know, he looks impressive as a physical human being, we don't really have much of a kind of buy-in, because he's not been developed as a character, so therefore we know we know how it's going to all end up, basically. So impressive it is in regards to the fight. I had some real problems with the story on this one. Like I said, it's pretty generic, and the characters are very poorly written, but you might not care. If you're just going to watch this film for the fight scenes, you will not be disappointed in this movie. I mean, the fight scenes are spectacular, like I've said. So, I know this film's got this series has got its fans, and you deservedly so will enjoy this entry into this franchise, which seems to have no sign of kind of slowing down. But if you're looking at it as a film, you have to critique it as a film. It does have some serious problems with the plot here. So I want to give this movie a 6 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me comments, and I shall look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.